What's up, guys? Welcome to another Frontend Mentor Challenge. Today we're going to do the agency landing page. So I'll take a look at it. It looks pretty nice. This is a nice looking design. It's simple, but it's pretty. It's got a nice little color scheme. So we'll just scroll down through it here. So it's really just header with like a showcase area and then some text and a background image. We'll make that a background image. Another background image and text. And then you see how they do the width? They put a width on these background images and these boxes so that they line up like perfectly on the corners to make it look really pretty. That's nice. And then another section with some more background images and some text. Testimonials. So just really a lot of simple like Flexbox. We're just going to be using some Flexbox to make stuff side by side. And then, we might use some CSS grid maybe to do these ones. We'll see. We'll use a couple different technologies just to show some variation, show you some new stuff. And then, so it's just really a bunch of background images. These are going to be background images again. And then we have a little navigation and social link area on the bottom of the page. Mobile, it's got a mobile menu with JavaScript. So we'll be doing that. And then everything is pretty much the same. It's just stacked on top of each other. So yeah, pretty simple. I'll give you a sneak peek at the finished product because why not? We'll Tarantino it up a little bit here and do the end first. So this is what we're going to build. This is the actual live one. These links don't go anywhere, guys. This is just like part of the, it's just a landing page. They don't have any design for the About Services or Projects page. We have this little contact link button in our navigation menu. And then you can see here, I'll show you how to do all this to make it line up and look pretty, just like the design. And then we got some hover effects down here. So we'll be building that. And then just to show you the mobile view, make it smaller. Boom, we use JavaScript to pop our menu out, makes a few things disappear. And then we use what's called a toggle. We toggle the class to show and not show. And then from there you can click on all the links. Contact button's yellow. That's really the only difference. Everything's just stacked on top of each other. So, all right, let's get started here. So we can visit the Challenge Hub, and then if you haven't already, go ahead and download the starter files. And then if you have the premium version of Frontend Mentor, you can download the Figma design file, which is like the professional file. And then if you have Figma, if you have developer mode, which costs like $15 a month, you can view all the CSS in there, and it'll help you make the design look exactly like this. It'll help you make your code look like the design, I should say. Just to show you, if you're new to Figma or you don't know how to do it, you can go to figma.com, and then you can either use their website. Just has like a built-in design software right on the website. You don't have to download it, but if you want, you can download the application. I have Mac. I have it for Mac and I have it right down here on the desktop. You can download it for Windows as well, and then you'll be showing. This will be like your home screen with all your designs, if you have any. If you don't, it'll be empty. But essentially, all you're gonna do is you're gonna take that Figma file if you choose to download it. You'll get a figma.zip file. So Sunnyside Agency landing page figma.zip. Go ahead and open that. Double click it. And then click on the file itself. And then this landing page.fig file, you just drag it into Figma and it'll load up for you. I already have it here, so I'm not going to do it again. That's how you do that, okay? And I encourage you guys, if you're a new aspiring developer that takes this seriously and you really want to get good, learn at least one design software. Figma's a great one to learn. It was made specifically for web development. So pay the extra money, pay a Frontend Mentor if you want, and then pay Figma $15 a month and learn the software, guys, because it makes it a lot easier. And you're going to, as a professional developer, a lot of times you're going to have to know how to work with this design software, even if you're not the designer, right? So we open the design. I'm going to put this on my other screen for most of the rest of the video. I'm not going to constantly have this up here. But just to show you, if you have developer mode, which is down here, this little toggle button, we can leave it. And then when we click in on stuff, it's not going to give us any of the CSS. It'll give us some colors. That's about it. If you pay the $15 a month to Figma, you can turn developer mode on like so. And now you can see I click into this paragraph. It's got me the color, the font family, font size, everything that I'll need. And then it even has the content here if I want to copy paste it. Okay. So this isn't sponsored by Figma or Frontend Mentor. They have no idea that I exist. I'm just kind of giving you this information, and I'll link some of the stuff in the description, but this is not sponsored. Okay. Just information. So we'll put that off to the side. And then I'm going to create a folder for the project, and I'll call it Sunnyside. Let's see if I can spell Sunnyside Agency Landing Page. Okay. And then I'm going to take that. Actually, I'm going to go in here first. So now I'm going to go into my downloads folder, and I'm going to grab that the main zip file that we downloaded with like the starter code and stuff for this design. And I'm going to take just the images is all I really want from this. I'll make my own files. So I'm just going to drag and drop the images. I have Figma, so I don't need the style guide. If you don't have Figma, you might want to drag this over because it's got the fonts and some of the stuff in there that you'll need, like font sizes and other style stuff. But all I need is the images. So, and if you're doing this with me, you won't really need any of that because I'm going to show you. So let's go ahead and I'm going to open Visual Studio Code and drag my project in here. Brand new project. So let's go ahead and make our files now. So I'm going to make my index.html. I'm going to make my style.css. And then I'll make my JavaScript file. So we'll just call that script.js. And then I'm going to get my boilerplate code. So I'm going to hold shift and the number 1, hit number 1, and then hit tab. Give us our HTML boilerplate. And I'll be using Visual Studio Code for this tutorial, guys. I'm going to be using little shortcuts for Visual Studio Code. I'm assuming most of you are on VS Code. It's pretty much the standard nowadays. So if you know nothing about Visual Studio Code, you'll learn just by building this tutorial. And I recommend that you use this as your text editor because it's free and it's great for beginners. So let's title our webpage. We'll call it Sunnyside. And we'll put a pipe and then agency. And to get that pipe, you hold shift and hit the / on your keyboard, and you'll also get the pipe there if you hit shift. So it's called a pipe. Let's go ahead and connect our CSS and our JavaScript before we do anything else. So I'm going to go below my last meta tag. We're going to go link, and then we already have our rel style sheet in there. I want to link style.css, and then we'll make a script tag, and we're going to hit source. We'll make src for source, and then we're going to say we want script.js to be connected here. And then we can go ahead and test that out. So I'll put an H1 that says test. And then let's look at our page side by side. So I'm going to hit go live here in the bottom corner. This is a little plugin that you can download from VS Code to, launch your web page in your browser really fast. You can click this button here and just type in live server, or just type in live and download live server if you want to get that button there. Really easy. All right, so let's look at our page here. Make it a little bigger. So let's go into our CSS now and see if this is connected properly. So let's do a CSS reset. So we're going to say asterisk, select my whole page. I want margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. And then, so it looks like our CSS is working because our margin and padding is gone. This is now up in the corner. Just to make it more obvious, we can say that H1, we can change the color to red and really see that it's working. And we're good. So CSS is connected. We're good to go with that. Can delete this. Let's go ahead and do our JavaScript now. So we already connected our JavaScript, or we think we did. We're going to double check that. So let's create an alert. And I'm just going to say JS connected. So that'll load on the page, that little message if it's connected. Let's save. And there we go, JS connected. So to save, guys, you can either go to File and in Visual Studio Code, you can go up here to File, Save, or you can hit Command S on Mac or Control S or Ctrl S on Windows, I believe, to go ahead and save your page. So JS connected, we're good to go. Now, the next thing that we need to do is grab our fonts that we need. So they're going to be on Google Fonts because this page has a couple different fonts that it uses. So let's go to Google Fonts. All right, and then the first one that we're going to need is called Francis, and it's like the font that's used for headings in this one. So I'm going to grab Francis. Well, first let's go to my bag and just remove whatever I have in there. Go back to fonts. And there's Francis. We're going to say get font, get embed code. Now this is what's called a variable font, I believe. So, yeah. So we're just going to, these variable fonts are different. It's hard to just select exactly what you want. So I just take the default. I just take all the fonts basically. We're just going to say which is the full axis. Make sure that this is selected. And just copy. This will give you access to all the font weights because there's a couple different font weights that we use. So let's copy that code and go back in to our index.html. And above our style sheet, we're going to paste in the code to get the Francis font from Google Fonts. And then there is also another font that we need, and that is Barlow. So we'll go ahead and grab that. That's also a Google font. So let's make this bigger. Go back to fonts. Let's get rid of this. And now I'm going to type in Barlow. And again, guys, I'm getting all this font information is coming from Figma, okay? That's where I'm getting it from. So there's Barlow. And for Barlow, we're going to hit get font, get embed code, copy this code down. Well, actually, we're only going to get a couple. Since this isn't a variable font, we can just pretty much select the styles we want. So let's click on change styles, deselect all of them. All we really need is the regular 400 and the semi-bold 600, I believe. Let me check at my thing here. Yeah, we just need 600 and 400, so that's all we're going to select. Copy this code in. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll go above our style sheet, below the other font, and just paste that in. And the Barlow font is pretty much used for all of the paragraphs, and then the Francis font is used for all of the headings. So we can make those rules in our CSS now. Let's get rid of this JavaScript alert. We don't need that anymore. And then let's just test this out. Let's make a paragraph under here. Just put some lorem ipsum placeholder text, say lorem 12. And then let's see if we can go here. And all of our headings, so I'll just put H1, H2, H3. And all of those headings are going to have the Francis font. So let's go ahead, and we got to make sure we put our font families in there. So let's grab Barlow really quick. That's going to be for paragraphs. Font family Barlow. And then I think we forgot to get the one for Francis. So let's just go grab that. Get font. And then for Francis, it's just Francis with a serif fallback. Okay. Put that here for all the headings. Now let's see if they changed. There we go. That looks like they did. Let's take this off and see. All right, so that's them before, and then when we add our fonts, that's after. Okay, so We're happy with that. We'll keep that for now. All that we'll have to change on some stuff is some of the font weights, because there's some different font weights on the different headings and stuff that we use, but that'll be a good start. Another thing that I always like to do is for all my anchor tags, we always want to do text decoration none, because they usually are like underlined and stuff. So we'll just put that in none. And then another thing I like to do is for all my lists. So we use those for navs, right? I like to always say list style type none. And that should be good. So just get all those out of the way, because those are stuff that I always use, right? And we can even make some comments up here. So we'll just say, we'll do caps lock and say global styles. All right, and then down here we'll say the first thing we're going to make is like that header showcase area. So we'll just put a comment here, and we'll say header / showcase. Okay. All right, so we should have everything we need now. We can get rid of this H1 and this P tag, and we can start building this design. And how we're going to do this, guys, so let's just pull this up. Get out of that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go section by section, one thing at a time, and really pay attention to this if you're new and you're still trying to put this whole HTML CSS thing together, right? Maybe you've learned a bunch of like theory, but nobody's ever built stuff in front of you, so you're really having a hard time putting everything together. Follow how I do this, okay, for the rest of your life, at least until you're advanced and you can make your own decisions. But do one section at a time, break this down into one section at a time, and make it mobile as you go. So start with desktop, build the desktop first, and then make stuff mobile as you go. Do not move on from, so this whole section right here, which I call one section, the header / showcase area, it's got the nav bar, a background image, and some text. I'm going to make that first on desktop, and then right away we're going to do the mobile part. So we're going to do the JavaScript menu right away. I'm going to get this completely ready to go on every device before I move to the next section, which will be this one. Okay? So I really highly recommend. That's how I learned how to code, and it's a nice organized way. I hate building a whole design out and then going back and making it mobile friendly is a pain in the butt. So I strongly suggest you follow my advice. If you don't want to, that's fine, but that's really the easiest way to do this stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's go ahead. Like I said, we're going to do the desktop version. So we're going to have a blue background, or I think this whole blue background and the orange is an image. So we'll just insert that as a background image. We're going to start up here making the navigation bar with the logo and that. So let's do that first. So I'm going to go in my body here, and I'm going to use a header tag. And then I'll give that a class. I like to give most of my classes, my tags classes, just to better organize my code. So I'm going to say class, and we'll call this header - showcase. Okay. And then what I'm going to do here is we're going to create a container class, because as you can see on the design, there's some space on the sides here. It's not like all the way over. So there's basically padding on the sides, and I'm going to do that by just creating a little container class. So we'll say .container, and then everything in the container will have some built-in padding. And we'll do the container. We're going to do the HTML first, and then we'll do the CSS. So after our container class, we're going to have our navigation. So we'll do a nav tag, say nav, and we'll give it a class of main nav. And then within there, we're going to have our logo. So we'll have the logo image, and then we're going to have our actual navigation links here, okay? So we'll do the logo. So now, notice what I'm doing, guys. I'm going in order. We're breaking this down. We're going top to bottom in order, okay? So we're going to go, let's just put our logo in a div. So we'll say .nav logo container. And then in here, we're going to do an image tag. And this is going to be in the images folder that we dragged over. Remember, we have our images folder up here. That was from the file we downloaded. So we're going to say images / and then we're just going to grab this logo.svg. And then the alt text, we'll just put logo. And if we look at that, it's there. You can't see it because the logo is white, but it's right here. That's why it's being highlighted. So there's our logo. We'll be able to see it in a second, I promise. And now let's do our menu with the items. So let's go below the logo div. And then we're going to do our unordered list. And it's going to have a class on it of main nav links. Again, we'll just add classes for styling, make it easier to style them. And then we're going to have our links. So let's do li. So our list items, and those are going to have a class of, we'll call it nav li. And then within our LIs, we're going to have our anchor tags for the links themselves. So we're going to say A, and then we'll put a hashtag in there because these links aren't going anywhere. And I believe our first one is about, and it is. So this is the about link. And then let's give our links a class too. Keep this organized. So let's say class, and we'll just call them navlink. Okay. So we have about, we need services, projects, and contact. So let's copy this down a couple times. All right. So we have about, do services, projects, and contacts. So we should at least be able to see our links if we click over to the design. So again, the logo, oh, we can kind of see it. Look, there it is. There's the logo. Our logo is here and our nav links are here. So getting there. And then, so we'll go below our nav bar. We have this text that says we are creative. So let's do that now. So this is our closing nav tag. And below that, we're going to do, that'll be an H1 heading. So we'll do H1 and we'll put a class on there of showcase header. And then it says we are creatives. So we'll do we are creatives. And it's all in caps, and we'll do that with CSS. We'll put it in caps. And then below that, we have this little arrow pointing down. So let's do that. That's one of the images, I believe. So below our H1, we'll put it in a div. We'll say, we'll give it a div with the class of down arrow container. And then we'll do an image tag. It's in our images folder. And so we're looking for something that says like arrow. Right here, icon arrow down.svg. Okay. We'll save. Let's look at our design. I don't think we'll be able to see it because it's white. But yeah, there it is. It's here. It's hidden, but it's right here. There's our text. So getting there. We got the raw HTML down that we need for the most part. Yeah. So that's all the HTML that we need. Let's go ahead and use some CSS to make it look like this. So go to our style.css. And we already have our header showcase comment here, so it's real obvious what we're doing. And let's start by styling the header showcase by putting that background image on there. So let's copy this class, header showcase. We'll copy paste it over to make sure that we don't have a typo. We'll use our class selector, which is that dot or a period. Paste that in there, get our curly braces. And then let's start with the background image. So we're going to say background URL. And then in our URL, we're going to go into our images folder and we're going to go into desktop. And this is, I think it says image header.jpg. So it should be that one. Let's save and just see. So it is. It's got the blue background, so now we just got to style it. So what it looks like. Let's style it so it looks like it should. So after that, we're going to say no repeat because images repeat by default. We want it centered, the image, and then we want it to be center and with the size of cover. So take up the whole space. It's called a cover image in background image language. And look at that. We can see it now. Let's continue on here. We're going to give this showcase a height of 800 pixels. So we want it to be taller, just like the design. And then we're going to make this position relative because we'll put some absolute position stuff in here a little bit later. Not now, but when we do the mobile part in our JavaScript, we're going to need to do some absolute stuff. So we'll say position relative and we'll deal with that later. All right, so now let's style up this navigation area up here. Remember, it should be looking like this. It should have logo and then all the nav stuff over here. So let's style that up. So let's grab our main nav. Make sure we copy it. Our main nav class. And then we're going to put that stuff side by side. Say display, flex, align items, center. And then we're going to say justify content. And we want them on opposite sides, so we're going to use space between. Hit save, make it bigger, and we're not there yet, but we're getting there. So now at least they're side by side. We forgot to put our container CSS in here to give this some padding on each side, so let's do that now. So I'm going to put my container class up here in the global styles because we'll use the container several times whenever we need it. So we'll just say dot container, and we're going to say width of everything in the container div is going to be 90%. That'll already give it some padding. We'll give it a max width of 1400 pixels, and then we'll just say margin auto. So if we look here, now we've got that padding. So just like the design here, got that padding on the sides, so it looks better. All right, so now that we got that done, we can continue on and make these. We got to style these up now. So let's go ahead and grab our main nav links class and use that dot selector again. And then again, we're going to do the same thing. And now we need these to be side by side as well. So we're going to say display, flex, align items, center. And that's all we really need to do for those. We're not going to justify the content. So now they're side by side, but we need to add some padding and style of the text. So we'll do that now. So now we're going to grab our nav link class. Let's say dot nav link, and they're going to be white. So we'll say hashtag FFF hex code for white. And then the font family is going to be Barlow. So we'll say font family. You can just copy it from up here. It's supposed to be Barlow sans serif. So same as the P tag. Okay. And then our font size on these links is going to be 18 pixels. Font weight is going to be 600. And then we're looking better here, but we need to give them some padding because they're all scrunched up on the sides. So we'll say padding, 0 rem top and bottom, 1 rem left and right. So 1 rem is equal to 16 pixels. So doing 16 pixels of padding on the left and right. And that looks better now. So let's look at that. Much better. And then let's give this whole top part needs to be brought down. We need some padding up here. So let's do that. So let's go over to our main nav here, and we'll say padding top 2 rem. Bring everything down. There we go. Starting to look like the design more. We still have to style this contact button to look like this, but we're getting there. Okay. So let's do that now. So to do that, we're actually going to go down because our contact is a little bit different than the other ones. We're going to give it some different class names. So I'm going to call this we'll call this, instead of nav li, I'm going to call it contact link li. And then we're going to give it a class. Instead of nav link, we're going to call it contact link. Okay. And then we can go ahead and get to styling that. So let's go ahead and select the contact link class to start. And again, I'm going to get all of the colors and stylings are going to come from the Figma file that I have on my other screen. So just to show you what I'm looking at, guys. If I click in here on the contact link itself, it's giving me the color, the font size, everything. Okay, so again, that's where I'm getting this stuff from. I'm not pulling it out of outer space. Okay, just so you know, I'm not just making stuff up. This is actually according to the design file. All right, so for the color, it's going to be hashtag 24303E, so a little darker color. And then the width is going to be 140 pixels. And the height is going to be 56 pixels. And then we're going to give it some padding. And we're going to give it 1.3 rem padding top and bottom, 2 rem left and right. And you can't see anything now. We're going to put a background color on here, so it's going to give it that little button look. It's going to have a border radius of 28 pixels. So before we go further, let's just give this the background of, I think it's just white. Yeah, so that you can see what we're actually doing here. There we go. All right, so that was... So we can actually take away this width and height because we don't need that because we're just going to use padding on it. My fault. But so the padding here, if we take all the padding away, just to show you what it did. See how there's like nothing here now? Put it back. It's making it tall and wider like a button, okay? And then that border radius, if we take that away, it's just square. That's making it round on the corners. And then for this, the font family is actually going to be different than the other links. It's going to be that Francis font. So let's copy paste that in. The font size for that is going to be 15 pixels. We're going to add a font weight of 700. Make it a little bolder. And then all of the text on this link, I think, is uppercase. Yeah, it is. It's all capitalized. So we're going to use CSS to make it that way. We're going to say text transform uppercase. Save. There we go. So now that's looking a lot more like the design. Blow it up here. So there's the design. There's ours. Looking pretty good, guys. So see how that? We're just taking one little part at a time and building it, okay? Big projects are just a bunch of little problems that you have to solve one by one. All right, guys, and then we actually need to add a little hover effect on here. So you can't see it on Frontend Mentor page, but if I bring the Figma file over here and we just move this over, it shows us the active states. And the active state for this is it turns the background to be kind of transparent to just show that blue. And then the text on the link goes from white or black to white. So let's go ahead and we'll do that now. So in our contact link, we're going to go to the bottom here and we're going to use a transition on that. So we'll say transition and we'll just say all 0.2 seconds ease in. And nothing's going to happen yet, but that's going to allow us to use the hover pseudo selector on here to make some stuff happen on hover. So we'll say contact link :hover. And now what we need to do is change the color of the link text to white. So we'll say #FFF. And then the background color, I'm just going to change the background color to something really similar to this so that it looks transparent. So we're going to change the background color to #77CEF5. And then let's see if that did anything. So let's go hover over it. There it is. Okay. So it looks pretty close to the design. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for our nav area. Now we got to still do our heading and this little down arrow. We got to style that up. We're almost done. So the heading text should look like this, and the down arrow should be like up on the top part of the orange, pointing down. So let's do that now. Let's go grab our heading. So let's copy our showcase header class name. Go over here to our CSS. We'll say .showcase header. And then we're going to do, on this, we're going to do text align center. And the text color, we should actually put that above it. It's going to be white. So we'll just say again, FFF. The font size is pretty big. It's 56 pixels, so we'll add 56 pixel font size. Font weight is going to be 900, so pretty bold. And then we got some letter spacing. The letters are spaced apart in the design here, as you can see. And they're going to be spaced apart 8.75 pixels. And then we need some padding top because it needs to be down a little bit. It needs to be like down here, like the design. So we'll say padding top. We'll call it 6 rem. And then all of this needs to be capitalized or uppercase. So we'll use text transform again on this. So we'll say, oops. We'll say text transform uppercase. There we go. So now it's all uppercase. Let's see how that looks full screen. So let's add padding top. And we'll do 6 rem. There we go. And then we need to put the PX on here so that our letters space out. That was a little typo. There we go. So now let's look at it. There it is. So let's look at that. And then right here. So pretty good, pretty close, right? Looking good. So now we just got to style this little arrow and put it like right here in this area. So let's get that done. So we'll just grab onto the div that the image is in, which is called down arrow container. We'll say down arrow container. And we'll do, we'll align that center. So we'll say text align center. Now it's in the center. Now we just got to bring it down. So we'll just say margin top 7 rem. And then let's look at it full screen. And there it is. So maybe bring it down a little bit more. Let's use our developer tools to get that more exact. So I'm going to right click and hit inspect. And I'm going to hit my selector over here. Select the arrow. And let's see, right here, dot arrow down container. We're going to highlight this and go up with my, go to about here. So like one more right there. So 9 rem. And I'm doing this, guys. I just selected that and I'm using the arrow keys on my keyboard. This is how you can use the developer tools to get stuff exact when you're trying to position it. Okay, this is a little intermediate advanced hack here. Okay, all the really good developers, like at least front end developers, you're going to be using your developer tools a lot and tweaking stuff with that so that you can see what stuff looks like without having to write it in your text editor and reload the page a million times. This is just way faster. So I'm gonna go with 8 rem, or I guess 9 rem is what it should be. So let's do 9 rem. That's fine. 9 rem puts it like right there. So let's go make that go down. Say 9 rem. All right, and that's pretty much our desktop version here. I think is pretty complete, right? So this is our desktop version versus the design. We're there. Okay. So now we got to make this thing mobile friendly, and we got to add in JavaScript, and we got to make the little mobile menu. So essentially, it might sound really complicated, guys, but I'm going to break down what we're going to do step by step. So we're going to bring in the mobile menu. We have an SVG for that. We're going to make this stuff, we're going to display it block, and then we're going to make it so it displays none. We'll use CSS for that. And then really we're just going to use JavaScript and tell JavaScript that every time we click on this icon when it's in the mobile view to show the menu how it's supposed to be shown. And I'll show you that on Figma. And then when we click it again, it disappears. That's it. That's all we're doing. We're really just selecting something, making stuff disappear, making stuff reappear. So don't let that scare you or get overcomplicated in your head. That's all we're literally going to do here. Okay. Oops. And then just to show you our mobile menu, I'll show you on Figma. It's going to look like this. And I already kind of showed you in that little sneak peek in the beginning. But so when we click, it's going to display the menu like this. And I'm going to make the arrow and stuff disappear. And then when we click it again, it's going to go back to this state over here of just... It's going to go back to looking like that. Okay. So let's get that done. So first, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add another comment for where our media queries start for our code that is mobile friendly. So let's put this comment down here. And we'll say media queries. Media queries. And then I'm going to create our first media query over here. So we're going to say at media. Whoops. Media. So at media. And then we'll say max width colon 900 pixels. So every time we hit a screen that's 900 pixels and below, our code is going to change as far as CSS goes. So it's going to display differently on the page. So that's what that code, everything within the little curly braces here, that's what's going to happen. So that's all mobile phones, and most mobile phones turned portrait are still going to display mobile with that code. If the screen is bigger than 900 pixels wide, it'll go to desktop until we add more media queries, which we will. Okay. So let's do this. We'll save that. Let's go in our HTML code. Let's make this smaller. And we're going to add a few things. We're going to add a few pieces of HTML to our code to include the mobile menu stuff. So we'll go to... We're going to go below our opening container div and above our main nav tag. And inside there, we're going to put our mobile menu button. So let's do a div with the class of mobile menu btn for button. And then in there, we're going to do an image. And we're going to go to our images folder again. And we're going to select this icon hamburger.svg. And then we'll leave the alt text blank because it's not really an image. It's more like just decoration. And there it is. So there's our hamburger thing. So now we're going to position that to where it should be on the right over here. So let's do that now. So let's select this mobile menu button div. And we'll go down, and I guess I'll put it in our header showcase area. So let's put it above there and above the main nav. I like to try to put my stuff as it appears on the screen as far as my styles go. Okay, so that mobile menu button, we're going to do Position absolute to take it out of the normal flow of the document. So now our page is essentially, when we do absolute positioning, it's just ignoring this. It's like this doesn't even exist anymore. So it's there, but it's not really affecting anything. Okay, it's not going to push down on anything or affect the page in any way. And then we're going to say we want it top 30 pixels from the top. So drop it down to where, it's level with the rest of our nav bar. And then we're going to say we want it right 35 pixels from the right. So the right is over here, so it should bring it over here. And there it is. So it's there now. Let's make it bigger so we can see it. And there we go. Okay. So we're getting there. Let's make sure that when we go over it, it has a cursor pointer. So it looks like more of like a link. Okay. And then we'll say Z index 2 because we want this to always be on top of everything no matter what. Always want this to be visible. Nothing can be on top of it. And then we want it to be displayed none on desktop. So we'll say display none to get rid of it because we don't want to see it unless you're on the mobile screen. So display none. So there we go. So it's here, but it's not. We displayed it none, so we'll make it so it shows up on mobile. So let's go do that now. Let's copy all this code and go into our media queries. Paste in mobile menu button, and we don't need to have any of this in here, but we do need to make this say display block. So all of the styles, guys, the reason why I was able to delete all that code is because all of the code that we already put up here is going to be remembered by the browser because it's in our CSS, so we don't need to have it in here twice. The only thing that we have to have in here is the code that's different, okay? So if we go shrink the screen down to mobile now, just to show you that it should be showing. Let's do this. There it is. Okay. And then what I'm going to also do is I'm going to make a logo specifically just for the mobile view because this logo is the logo as we made it is part of our main navigation bar. So I'm going to make another one below it and then display this none so that when our logo comes out, it'll be where it needs to be. And you know what? Before we do that, let's add our JavaScript and style our menu up, and then I'll show you why we're going to add two different logos because it's not going to make sense until I show you, literally. So let's start styling up the rest of our header here while we do everything. So I'm going to right click, hit inspect to get my developer tools up here. I'm going to click on this. This is to toggle to mobile devices so that we can style it while looking at a mobile view. And then I'll also select an iPhone 12 Pro because those are really popular in the market. So we'll go off of that. So this is an iPhone 12 Pro, what it'll look like on there. And I'm just going to blow this up a little bit to like 125 so you guys can see what we're doing. And then we'll get to styling with this side by side. So everything is all messed up right now, but we'll fix that. So let's style up our menu so that it looks like the mobile menu. So let's grab our main nav tag and change some styles on that. And we're going to go one by one, guys, and make this look better. So main nav. And we need to change how this displays because it can't be flexed like that with everything side by side. Our screen isn't big enough on mobile. All right, guys, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our main navigation links and display them block instead of flex because they can't be side by side like that. So let's copy this main nav links down here. And we're going to change all this code. So this is going to go to display block, text align, center. So saving that now, it's already looking way different. Okay. So that already kind of fixed our design a lot. We're going to do a background color of white because it's going to have like a little background to it according to our mobile design. It's going to have like a white background and all of our links are going to be displayed here when they're showing. We're going to give it a width of 329 pixels. And we're going to give it a height of 270 pixels. There we go. So we're getting there. And then we're going to say we want our white links box to be centered. So when it's showing, so we're going to say margin, and we're just going to say 0 auto. And we want to make sure our links and everything is centered when they display. So we're going to add margin 0 auto. And then we're going to do, we'll just leave it like that for now because I don't want to do anything else until we can see the rest of our links, which we can't because they're all white. That's why you can't see anything but the contact. So let's fix that next. Let's grab our nav link. I think they're called nav link, right? Let's see. Yeah, .nav link. Grab those. And I'm going to get rid of all of this, and we'll write some different code. So we're going to change the color of our nav links in mobile. And it's going to be hashtag 808397. So now we can see our links, or some of them, because the other ones are getting pushed off the page here. And then remember the background of this contact is white right now, so it's like over the other link. That's why we can't see it, but we'll fix that. Our font size for the nav links is going to be 20 pixels on mobile, a little bit bigger. Line height or spacing is going to be 25 pixels top and bottom. So line height is like letter spacing, but top and bottom. We kind of just add some padding. Let's style this guy up so that it's not taking it. See, when we click it, we can see where it is. We'll style that up to how it should be. Let's go into our main nav links and see if we can give these some padding so we can see all of our links. So let's say padding top 1.5 rem. There we go. So to give these some separation, we're going to do, it's actually going to be the nav li class that we made. So I don't think we ever did anything with it yet. No, we didn't. So let's go to our index.html. And remember, we put nav li on all of our list items for nav. And that's where that's going to come in handy now. So let's actually put that above nav link. Say .nav li. And we're going to say margin 1.3 rem top and bottom, 0 rem left and right. And there we go. That gives it the spacing that they need so that we can actually see all of our links, right? Now they're looking pretty, looking a lot better. Got to style up this contact link because it's supposed to have a yellow background and white text in mobile view. So let's do that. So I believe that's the contact link. So let's go grab that from up here. It's all this code. And we are going to modify it a little bit. So we're going to delete all this. And all we need to do is change the background. And it needs to be like a yellowish color, which is going to be hashtag FBD 600. Okay, there we go. And let me see. So it looks like the text is still black. So we'll keep the black text. We'll say transition none because there's no hover transition in mobile. We can get rid of that. And then we'll just change the shape of it by adding some different padding. So we'll say padding 1 rem top and bottom, 2 rem left and right. There we go. So now it looks like the mobile version. We need to push the projects. We need to push this down. So we'll probably, to not mess with the positioning, we'll probably have to use the projects. We'll have to put a link on projects or do something to push this down. So let's just do, there's many ways you can do this. How I'm going to do it is I'm going to go to my projects link and give it an ID just to differentiate it. So it's this one right here, the LI. So let's just say ID projects link. Okay. And we can go and select it now. And again, there's many ways we could do this. This is just how I'm choosing to do it. Let's go above here, select it with the ID selector, the hashtag. And then we'll say we want margin bottom on that of 2 rem. So push that sucker down, get away. Basically saying, get away from me, man. Give me some space. So that looks better. That looks more like the design. All right. So let's look at what Figma looks like. So we're getting there. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. This is, let's make this a little bit bigger. So that and that. So we're getting there, right? So we're going to make a mobile logo. So I'm going to delete this and make a logo that just shows on mobile. That's up here. The reason that this is side by side here is because it's part of, in our HTML, we made it part of the main navigation, the logo included. So it still wants to be side by side. I guess if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have done that. I would have made it separate from this so that we didn't have to do this, but whatever, doesn't matter. We're going to solve the problem how I want to solve it, right? And you'll run into this too, guys. You won't always pre-plan everything perfectly for projects if you have to code something from scratch, but there's always a workaround, so we'll do a workaround. So we need to fix that, and then we need to make it so that our mobile thing is more visible. We still got to do the text and everything, so we'll do all that now. So let's keep trucking here. So remember, this is what we're going for. This is like the final... this is the final product that we're going to get. So we're almost there. So let's get rid of this main logo on mobile. Have we not selected it? Oh, we never selected it, I guess. So we'll grab this nav logo container, copy that. We'll put it up here, and we'll say display block on desktop, but on mobile, we're going to take it down here, and we're going to say display none. Got to add the dot here. There we go. And that, since they're not side by side anymore, that centered our nav links, so that looks a lot better. I don't think we brought the dot over here. Nav logo container. Put that there. All right, so let's just test that. Go full screen. So no logo, and then when we go back to desktop, it's there. Okay. So we're getting there. All right, let's continue on. Let's make our mobile logo. So let's go into HTML. And above our main nav and below our icon, we'll create a div that says mobile. It's called mobile logo container, because we're going to take it out of the nav here. And then let's just say, go in here, we'll say image, images, logo SVG. And there, now we have a logo back. Okay, so now we can style that up. So let's grab mobile logo container, go back down into, did we already display that none yet? I don't think we did. We're gonna have 2 logos now, I think. All right, yeah, so we gotta display it none, and then style it in our media queries area. So let's just go put it here. Dot mobile logo container. Display none. But then we'll bring down to our media queries and we'll display it block. And then let's bring this down, this mobile logo container, so that's level with this guy. So let's say padding top, we'll say 2.3 rem. There it is. So that might not be perfect, but it looks perfect. Might not be completely centered, pixel perfect, but you can't tell. Maybe we can make it a little higher. We could say 2.2 rem. Yeah, that's pretty good. So there we go. That's just our mobile logo. What else? Let's do our text. So let's style our text up differently. I guess technically for mobile, let me go back to a mobile view okay. So from mobile, there is in our images folder, it does has desktop and mobile images. So we can change the background orange image to the mobile one because I think it's a little smaller. So let's do that. I don't know how much of a difference that'll make, but let's see. Actually, let's do that. Let's style this text first because a lot of times with these mobile and desktop images, they don't really make much of a difference to the point where it's worth doing it. I mean, I guess maybe the file size is a little bit smaller, but let's do our text and stuff first because I don't want to change stuff unnecessarily. And, if whatever, you might say, oh, best practice, you should use the mobile images for mobile. It doesn't make much of a difference a lot of time, guys. I'm just going to be honest with you. They're all small enough file sizes to where it doesn't really matter. And performance-wise, it doesn't really matter. Hardware, cell phones, and everything is so powerful today that these little differences don't matter like they did 10 years ago. But we'll see. Let's style everything else. So let's style the text and the arrow and see where we're at. So let's grab our showcase header. And every time I add my media queries, guys, I copy paste down to avoid typos, basically. I don't rewrite the stuff. Should always copy paste. So let's see, showcase header. And a couple changes. So let's get rid of all this. And we're just going to change the font size from, I think it's like 56. We're going to knock that down to, font size, knock that down to 40 pixels. So smaller font. The letter spacing is a little smaller. So the letter spacing goes from like 8 to 6.25 pixels. And what else? We'll change the padding. So we'll say padding top to 9 rem. Okay. So we'll probably change this background image. Let's change the arrow because it needs to be brought up a little bit. And I think that's the down arrow container class. Grab that. And we're just going to change that to margin top 8 rem. And then I guess we'll change this image. We'll change it to the mobile, maybe change a couple other things. So this is the header showcase. And that can go all the way on top. And we're just going to go in here now and say images. And then instead of desktop, we're going to go down to mobile folder. And then this is the header. So I guess it's like slightly smaller. See how that changed a little bit. I'm going to leave all my styles the way they are, even though this doesn't look right, because this is going to display none by default, remember? So let's do that. So let's select the main nav class and display this whole thing none, because by default, we're not going to see it all the time. It's going to be hidden. And that's what's pushing all of this stuff down. So say main nav. And that can go up here, right here. And I'm going to say display none. So that fixed everything. And then we're going to say we want a, just to, again, make sure that it's always going to be centered, margin, 0 pixels, auto. And then we want Z index of this to be 2, because we want it to be on top of everything no matter what, just in case. And now we get to do some fun JavaScript and make our little button actually do something. So let's do that. So what we need to do is make a class called show that when it goes on our main nav, element that it appears like it just was. So let's say main nav, and then when it has the class of show on it, so we'll say dot show. And when it does have that class, it'll display block, it'll show. So it doesn't have it now. We're going to add it with JavaScript, but just to show you how it's going to look beforehand, let's go to the main nav and put a class of show on it. So we have main nav. Let's just type in show and save. And look, when it has the show class, that's what it's going to look like. Okay? So let's do that with JavaScript instead of having to do it manually. So that's a good way to test if it's going to work. So let's take this off of here. And let's go into our JavaScript. And let's select our mobile menu button because we're going to do stuff with that, right? So let's put it in a variable. So we'll say const mobile menu btn will be the name of our variable. And in there, we're going to save our element. So we're going to select it. We're going to say document dot, and we'll use query selector since it's in a class. And then this should be, I believe, mobile menu button. Let's copy this so we don't have a typo. Okay. And then we can console.log our mobile menu button to make sure we're selecting it correctly. Oh, there it is. So we are selecting the div. That's a good way to check your work. Use console.log. And now let's add a click event onto this thing, because when we click it, we want stuff to happen. So let's say mobile menu button dot, let's add an event listener. We're going to listen for a click. And then we're going to run a function. So we'll just do an unnamed function, an anonymous function. Let's do it right in here. And then let's select our main nav, our navigation. So we'll say const, and then we'll say main nav, and we'll say equals document dot query selector again. And let's go grab our main nav. So this one, let's grab that. And if you're not familiar with JavaScript, guys, all we're doing is we're creating this thing called a variable that allows you to save stuff. So you put the keyword in front of it, which is, in this case is const, and it means it's going to be a constant variable that never changes. And then it's kind of like if you're playing a video game and you're saving the game somewhere. We're saving a piece of data in here. So whenever I say main nav, JavaScript says, oh, you want to select the element that has a class of main nav. Got it. So we're just saving it so that we can do stuff with it. Okay. So we got that in there. And then what we can do now is we can say main nav, and we can say dot class list. And then we can say we'll use dot toggle. And what we want to do, we want to toggle or add on the class list that says show when we click the button. So let's put show in here. And let's see if it works. So every time we click this, it should appear and disappear. So it should display block, display none. Let's see. So we got boom, display block, boom, display none. Display block, display none. So that's what toggle means. You're toggling it on and off. Okay. So there's our mobile menu. It's looking pretty. Now what I don't like is how it pushes all this stuff down that looks ugly, and it doesn't look that way in the design. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this stuff with JavaScript, the arrow and the text, and I'm going to display it none when we click this, and then when we click back, I'll toggle display block back on, okay? So let's just do that really quick. So we're going to follow the same steps we just did. So we're going to save our elements, and then we're going to manipulate them with toggle, just like we did that. So let's go we need the showcase header. So let's say const, and then we'll name it showcase header. And that's equal to, again, we'll use document.query selector. Document dot query selector. And then let's just grab showcase header so we don't typo it. Copy it. All right. And then let's do it one at a time, so just to make it easier for you guys to see what's going on here. So let's say showcase header. And then we might actually have to make another class to hide this stuff, just like we did with the other one. We have the show class, so we can make another class called like disappear, or we can call it like hide. How about that? We'll say like hide it, display none. We'll just say hide. So we'll call it hide. So we'll say showcase header dot class list. Whoops, class list dot toggle, and we'll leave that open right now because we got to create the class. So let's copy this down. Dot showcase header, and then we'll say if it has a class of dot hide attached to it as well, that we're going to say display none, and then let's put hide in here, the class that we just created. Okay, so now we have our function that says we have our mobile menu button, listen for a click. When you click that thing, manipulate these two HTML tags that have a class of main nav and showcase header. We're going to do something with them. And then we're going to toggle show and toggle hide class lists, which are going to make something appear and make something disappear. So let's see if that works. Boom. And there goes our heading. It's disappearing. So that's working. So now we can do the same thing. Let's just put this hide class on our arrow so that I don't want that to show either. So let's select the arrow. Let's copy this whole thing down. And we'll make it a little bigger there. And then this will be, let's call it down arrow. And we're going to select it with, down arrow container. Copy that, put that in here. All right, and then we copy this down. And we'll change the name to down arrow. And now these should both disappear when we click, and then our mobile menu should show. So let's click it. Down arrow. Dot class list. Oh, I don't think we did it in CSS. So if we say down arrow dot container dot down arrow dot hide. Now let's try it. All right, so now they're both disappearing. Yeah. Looks good. So that's how you do the mobile menu. This is probably the hardest part of the whole challenge. So if you've made it this far and you think you can tackle the rest on your own because maybe you just want to see the mobile menu part, have at it. But we're going to continue on. This is definitely the most difficult part for newbies, probably this whole part. Let's check our design and how it looks on other devices instead of just the iPhone 12. So let's start up here at the BlackBerry Playbook. And let's see. This arrow's a little high on it. So BlackBerry Playbook, I don't even know what, this is like a half tablet, half phone or something. So, but it still looks pretty good. This would be, so the desktop version, mobile version, and then if you turn it sideways, desktop version. Let's continue down. Let's do like a Galaxy S8. That looks pretty good. If you turn it landscape, still looks pretty good. The arrow goes up a little higher, but guys, I'm not really concerned with these screen sizes because nobody really, like if you're viewing stuff on your phone, unless it's a YouTube video or like some kind of video, you're not turning your phone sideways, right? Like nobody really does that. So as long as we look pretty pixel perfect in this view, I'm happy. And it's pretty much going to look the same. So we got a problem. So on a Galaxy S9 Plus, which is a 320 pixel screen size, which I get is like a smaller screen size that like, I don't even know if a lot of phones are that small anymore, but we should still make it look good on like every device. So let's add a media query. And the reason why is because remember we made the width on this higher than that. I think it's like 329. What did we make it? Yeah. It's the width of this is longer than that, so let's make another media query for those little small screen sizes and just make that look better. So we'll say max width 350. So 350 and lower. And then we'll make this a little bit smaller just so it fits the screen nice. Because we don't want people on smaller screen sizes to not have a good experience, okay? Everything can stay the same, but the width. Let's make this like 300. Does that look okay? Should it be less? 280 maybe? There we go. 290. Okay? Now we're all happy. Everybody's happy. Let's see. Yeah. You're happy. I'm happy. We're all happy. I guess we could make this a little smaller too while we're here. Showcase header. So say dot showcase header. And we can make the font size like 34 pixels probably. And make this 6 pixels even letter spacing. That's better. Okay. Now our small screen friends are happy, right? And then again, we'll go this way. I don't care that, again, I'm not going to make different screen size stuff for the arrow. I don't care that much. Because like we already discussed, nobody's going to really view it that way. Now, if you're at a company and you're getting paid like $100,000 a year to make everything pixel perfect, just do it. But in this case, don't worry about it. Unless, that'll be a nice challenge for you new guys. Go ahead and make another media query and then change the arrow positioning for landscape mode. Go for it on your own. That's a good challenge for you to do. I encourage that. Let's see. Looking good. So it's looking good, guys. We'll go through a couple more devices. We're not going to go through everything. Let's see how it looks on like a new iPhone. Looks good. This is the one I have, the 14 Pro. I don't have the Pro Max, but I have the Pro. How about iPad mini? And then desktop view looks good. How about iPhone, or how about a Pixel 2 XL? Google Pixel. How about iPhone 10? There's a lot of iPhone 10s out there. I feel like this is in too much. I feel like this should be to the corner more. Let's just adjust that. So let's go grab that. Or let's just say this. We'll do it here, right? We'll say right 20. Yeah, I like that better. Keep it there. I'll keep that there. That looks better. iPad Pro, which is basically a laptop. Yep. Okay. Cool. All right, so first section done. That's probably the most difficult section to do. The rest of them is just background images and a little bit of text. So let's blow through the rest of this here and finish this project. Let's look at what we got to do now. So now we got to just do these two sections that kind of go to get. This is all one section, these four, and then this is going to be like a separate one. At least that's how I'm going to design it in my head. So text, background image, text. Give these a certain width so that they line up. And that's it. So let's get that done. Let's go into our index.html and below our header. And we'll make a main tag just to make things a little more semantic. So our main content now that's out of the header. And let's make a section. So let's say section. And we'll give this section a class of services, because this is pretty much listing out some services. So section, services, and we're going to have two different services. So I'll count this as one service. This is a separate service. So let's do within our services section. Each one will have a service div, and then let's go top down. So we're going to have a text with the text. So let's do, we'll do a div with a class that is called service text container. Okay. And then for when we get into mobile, because I think on mobile stuff switches around on us, the picture goes first. So I'm going to be strategic and just put an ID on each one of these text areas, because I might have to use some Flexbox magic to switch how they look when they're stacked on each other. So I'm going to give this an ID, and I'll just call it text1. So just follow along with me and I'll show you why we're doing that, okay? Might not make much sense now, but it will. So we got service text container text1 ID. In here, we're going to make another div called service text. And then we're going to do, this is like an H2. So let's do an H2. And we'll call it, we'll give it a class name of service text heading. And then what does that say? It says transform your brand. So let's say transform your brand. And then below it, we have a paragraph. So let's go below it. Do a p tag, and we'll give that a class name of service text. Service text p. And then I'm just going to copy that text over. It says, we're a full service creative agency, blah, blah, blah. You can read it yourself. See how our design's looking. So there we go. We got our, let's get out. Let's go back into desktop. And we're getting our service text in here. Okay. Let's see, pull this up next. All right. And then below that, we have like a link that says learn more. And so this is our service. So we're going to go below here. And now we're going to go directly below the paragraph, sorry. So let's go directly below the paragraph. And I'm going to make a div with a class of service link container. And then we'll make a link in here that goes nowhere because it doesn't go anywhere. And we'll give it a class of service link. And then it says learn more. So we'll just put learn more. Okay. So our service link is in there. There it is. So pretty. What else? Is that it? Okay, so then there's like a yellow line that goes underneath this. I don't know if you can really see it that well. Make this bigger. This service link has a yellow, because yellow and yellow, I guess, whatever. And then this one has a pink little line that goes under it. And those lines are, there's no images for those lines. We're actually going to make those purely with CSS, and I'll show you how to do that, okay? It's not that hard, and it's a cool skill to learn, because a lot of designs have little stupid lines like that, and you got to make them in CSS by yourself. So let's do that. So below the service link container, we'll put a line. So let's go right below it. And this will have a div of yellow line. Okay. And nothing's going to go in this div. We're just going to style it up and it's going to create a line. So what else? Now we need to put the image, huh? So we have service, and then we have the service text container. So below this, the closing div of service text container, which is here, we're going to make a div. So we're going to say hashtag. We're going to give this an image ID name of image1. And then we're also going to give this a class. And again, we're doing all this for later down the road when I do some mobile stuff. We're going to do a class name of service image container for the egg. So we'll put egg. Okay. So We're going to use Flexbox, guys. So we have our services section, which is going to have all this stuff. And then each one has a service, right? So this is a service. And within that service, we have our text. And then we're going to use Flexbox to put the image next to it, which is going to be a background image. Okay? So let's copy this whole service down. And right below this closing div, we're going to make another one. Actually, it's going to be backwards, though, because the image is actually going to be on top in this one. So let's do that. So this is the image. And then we need to put the image above the service text container for our second one, because it goes text, image, image, text. And then let's just change this now. This is going to be service image container glass, because it's a wine glass. We do not need an ID on this one, so let's just take that off. And then let's put the text in here for the glass, this one, for stand out to the right audience. So let's take this heading out. And then this text says stand out to the right audience. And then the paragraph text is different. It says using a collaborative formula of designers, researchers, and photographers, blah, blah, blah. So it's this text here. And then under the learn more in this one, we're going to have a pink line, not a yellow line. So let's make a class of pink line. Yeah. And then it still says learn more. So let's see what we got now. We just have all the raw HTML. So we just have really, all that's going to show is the text for the text containers for the services that we have. And then we're going to use Flexbox, and then we're going to put the images in side by side. Okay. So let's get that done. Let's go to our CSS. And we're going to make another comment. Let's go down. It's our media query. So we're going to go right here. And this is services, right? So let's do services. And in services, so if you look at the design, the services are right up against the header showcase. So we're not really have to select them or move it down or use padding or anything. We're going to go right in and select the first or our service class. So we'll say dot service. And we're going to say display, flex, side by side, align items center, justify content center, and then we're going to say width. We want them to go 100% across the page. And then we're going to give them a height of 600 pixels each for both service box areas. And let's see what that looks like so far. There we go. So can't really see much. We have our height in there. We did display flex, but we don't have our background images or anything like that yet. So there's nothing really flexed, but they're separated for now. Okay. So let's go to, we'll just go in order. So let's go ahead and style this up now, and then we'll add the images. So text, and then the image, and then we'll do the same thing. Then we'll do image, then the text. We want our CSS, everything to appear as it does on the page, just for organizational purposes. So I'm going to select the service text container right here, and we want that to take up 50% of this. So we'll put, because it's 50-50, right? So let's go service text container, say width 50%. And again, it's not really going to show much because we don't have anything else over here, but we'll get there. So width 50%. And then within the service text container, we have the service text itself. So we have our heading and everything all encased in another div. So let's go service text, and for that, we're going to put some padding on it because you can see there's padding on the sides, which is why we put another div around everything so that I can control that really easily. So I'm going to say padding, 0 rem top and bottom, 9 rem left and right each side. So remember, 16 pixels per 1 rem, 16 times 9 on each side. Do the math there, and that's going to bring our text in. So you can see it doesn't look good on that view, but see how it brought our text in? It's looking more like the text. I know this is hard to visualize, and it's looking really ugly right now, but just stay with me. So let's see. Now we got to do the headings. So let's select our service text heading. So now we're here. Let's just keep going on down in order. Say dot service text heading. And the color on that is going to be this 243 color that we've already used. It already has Francis by default, but we need to make the font weight 900. And then the font size is going to be 40 pixels. And then we'll give it some padding bottom because there needs to be padding between the heading and the paragraph. So we'll say padding bottom, and we'll say 1.5 rem. And then we're going to make the width. We have to make the width. So as it stands now, it's all in one line. We need to make the width a little smaller of this thing so that it stacks transform your and then brand is on bottom. So we're going to say width, and we'll say we want it to be 80%. And now that should be stacked. Transform your brand. And we're actually, since everything has the same class on both services as far as the text goes, we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone because look, this is styling too. Okay, so that's pretty cool. All right, so after our heading, we have our paragraph. Let's go down. Now we're going to do this part, the paragraphs. And so that's going to be service text P. Let's grab that, dot selector. And the color for the service text P is going to be this 808 color. And then the font size, we're going to do 18 pixels. And then the font weight, we're going to do 600. So semi-bold. Line height is going to be 30 pixels. And then we're going to say padding bottom of 2 rem because there's some padding between this on the bottom and the Learn More link. So that'll push the Learn More link down. So this is what our text looks like now with the Learn More link here. And now we're going to style that up. So let's go down. And let's select the service link class. Oops. So put our dot selector here. And then the color for our service links are going to be dark, and it's going to be that 243 color. It's going to have, let's go back here. It's going to have the font family is going to be that Francis. So let's grab that. Just going to paste it in here. So that's like, I think that's usually what the headings use, right? What else? Got font size 15 pixels. Font weight is going to be bold of 900. Letter spacing, there is a little bit of letter spacing of 1 pixel between each letter. And then Learn More here is all in caps. So we're going to say text transform uppercase. And let's see what that looks like. So our links are starting to take shape here, and now we just need to put that line under them. So let's go ahead and select our yellow line class for the one that's going to get the yellow line. And we'll put a dot, yellow line. And this is going to have a height of 10 pixels. It's going to have a width. And again, I'm getting the height and width and all this from Figma, the Figma file. We have a width of 130 pixels. It's going to have a border radius of 28 pixels, so it's going to be a little rounded. It's going to have an opacity of 0.25, so it's going to be a little transparent. Let's put opacity in here, 0.25. It's going to have a background of like a yellowish color, so it's going to be, according to Figma, it's hashtag FAD400. And look, you can see our line being made here. Let's see what it looks like right now. Full screen. There we go. So we got to bring this up above, like, because in the design, it's like kind of right on the stuff. It's like in it, kind of. So we can do that with margin top. So let's do margin top, and we're going to use -7 pixels negative margin to actually push it up instead of have the opposite effect. So if we push it up 7 pixels with negative margin top, which you can do, that is a thing. Now it looks just like the design where it's like right in there. Okay? See that? It's pretty close. So negative margins, how are we doing that? That's another good little trick to learn. And CSS, guys, it's a pain in the butt, and it might seem overwhelming. Like, how does this guy know how to do this? I used to feel the same way when I was watching people, but you just pick stuff up over time, building projects and looking up how to solve problems, and like certain things just stick in your mind. Like, you just don't forget them. So that's one of them. It just takes time and experience like anything else, okay? What else? I think that's it. Let me look at okay. So let me show you in the Figma file, there is an active state for those links with the lines on them. When you hover over it, the underline is supposed to become more pronounced, so the opacity is probably just going to go to 0. So we can do that, or we can just change the background color on hover. So that's it, hover, non-hover, hover, non-hover. See how it gets darker? So let's do that. It's not too hard to do. So we're going to do a transition on this one. And we're going to just select the opacity. And we're going to say 0.2 seconds to do the animation. And again, we're going to use ease in. And then let's select yellow line again. And do the hover pseudo selector, and we're gonna just change the opacity to 1. See if that worked. Yep, it did work. It's a little glitchy, but it works. There we go. Kind of look at when you get to a certain point, it gets a little glitchy. I wonder if we can just make the Z index on it. Oh no, because I don't want it to be completely covering that. I was going to say maybe if we use the index, but that'll kind of ruin it. But that's okay. It'll be a little glitchy, but it does it, okay? Better than nothing. What else? Let's add our egg background image in. So we have the egg over here. This. Could finally do that. So let's select that. Going down. Service image container egg. My class names are really long and like annoying, but I like to make my stuff painfully obvious, okay? In case I ever have to go back in the code like 2 years from now, it's really self-explanatory what everything is, so makes my life easy. So we can actually just copy the whole background thing and not write it out from scratch again. So we need this. And paste it down here, background, all that jazz. We're going to go images. Desktop, and then this is going to be transform your brand. So right here, transform. I really wish they would have named that image like background image egg or something to make it obvious, but whatever. Let's see what that looks like without any other styling. Oh, we need to add a height and a width to it, else it's not going to show up because it's a background image. So let's do width 50% because it's going to take up the other 50% of that area. And then we're going to do height, 600 pixels. And there it is. Add a width and a height, and there it is. Look, side by side. Look at that. And now it looks just like the design. I bet you didn't see that coming. Look at that. Pretty damn good, huh? Now we just got to do the same stuff to the other side, which really we just got to add the image and style up the link. So most of the work is done, luckily. All right, let's do. So we're going to copy all of this down. Why is this not closed? Okay, so we're going to copy this and do the same thing for the other image. So it is service image container glass. Dot service image container glass. And then let's just change the image and everything else should be the same. So images, desktop, and then this should be stand out for the wine glass. Let's see. Hey, look at that. They match up perfect. Remember, they match up perfectly like this, just like that, because we put 50% width, 50% width on everything. So 50-50, 50-50. Everything matches up on the corners and looks pretty, okay? Let's just add the pink line and the hover effect, just like we did with the yellow line. So I'm going to copy these two, and we're just going to change it to pink line. So right here, dot pink line, dot pink line hover, and then everything is the same but the background, which is going to be a pink color, which I'm going to copy and paste over from Figma. I'm going to getting a little lazy here. That's okay. Pink color. Yeah, that should be it. Let's see. So everything else is the same. So do we have a pink line? Yes, we do. Look at that. And watch the hover. Just like the design, baby. Let's go. Pretty, pretty. All right, looking good. So let's do some media queries, and just to be a pain in the butt, how this design is in mobile, the egg actually comes first. So everything is kind of flip-flopped, which is annoying. At least the egg part is annoying, but we can do that. All right, so it's going to go egg, text, glass, text. Okay, so let's get that done. So let's go to the mobile view, and let's look at iPhone 12 again, and let's make this look like it's supposed to. All right, so let's fix our service area. So let's grab the service class, which is up here, where we have it displayed flex. And let's go down, down, down above this one. So now we're in our 900 pixel max width. So this is the mobile view. And we're going to change a few things. So we'll leave everything display flex, but we're going to say flex direction needs to be column. So things are on top of each other, not side by side. And it's going to do a little bit to help. And then width is still going to be 100%. Height is going to be, we're going to change it from 600 to 800 pixels, a little taller on mobile screens because they're straight up and down. All right, so it's not looking so hot yet, but we'll keep going. Let's get our service text container and make it width 100% instead of 50 because that's throwing us off. So let's just copy all this stuff down at once. So we're going to take the text, and then we can go down and change what we need to. There we go. I don't think we might. So let's just copy all this down. And then, so below service, and we'll just go down one by one, right? So below service, we have the service text container, which I said we need to change it to 100%, so it goes all the way across. There we go, it's looking better. Service text, we're going to make it, so in the mobile design, the text gets aligned centered, and then we don't need 9 rems on each side because that's ridiculous. So we're going to make that a lot lower so that the text has some room to spread out. So let's say 2 rem each side. That's already going to fix it a lot. There we go. And then let's say text align center. So it's looking better. Then we got service text heading. So for service text heading, we're going to change the font size. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be 32 pixels on mobile screens. And then the width is going to go to 100% because everything is just stacked. Padding top is going to go to 3 rem because now it's sucked right up to here, as you can see. So 3 rem. Whoops. Supposed to say padding top. There we go. Give it some room. And then padding bottom, we're going to say 2 rem. Give it a little bit of room from the paragraph. Okay. Which is what it looks like here on the mobile design. So we're getting there, guys. You can see we're getting there, right? What else? Everything for the service text P is pretty much the same, so we don't need to change anything there. We'll just delete that. All of the service links, I believe, are just, they're fine. So we can get rid of service link. What else? The yellow lines, we need to center them because now they're all over here. So let's say we'll do it long form. So we'll say margin left auto, margin right auto, and then we need to add some margin bottom so this isn't right up against it. So let's say margin bottom 2.5 rem. Okay, there we go. Looking better. What else? We don't need to change the hover mode on that at all. And then let's just copy this for the pink line. While we're here, don't need to change the hover of the pink line. And now we just need to change our background images. So let's do the egg first. So the width instead of 50 is going to go to 100%. Okay. And then we could change this to the mobile version. We say images, mobile. What is this? Transform. Mobile egg. I don't think it makes any difference. Oops. It still looks the same. See, that's what I mean, guys. Like, it still looks the same, right? I don't know why. Again, maybe just the file size will be a little smaller, but anyway. C index 2. Yeah, so that looks good. And then we're pretty much going to do the same thing to the other one. So can copy these two down at least. Put the mobile wine glass on here. Images, mobile, stand out. Okay. So now we got to change the, with those IDs that we put on our stuff earlier, we're going to switch this towards the egg first, and then the text, and then the wine glass. So let's go, what did we call them? I think it was IMG1. So let's do that. IMG1 and text1, right? So let's do this. We'll go below here. We'll say, or we should go above actually. IMG1, curly braces, get out of here. And we're going to do a little trick now with Flexbox. We're going to say order. We want it to be the first thing. Okay. And then we need to change the text now. So text one. So let's just copy this down, which is, so we're selecting this and we're going to flip flop them. So let's go text one. And now we're going to do Maybe you can guess it, but we're going to do order to, save. And there you go. Okay. So now it's just like the design: egg, text, glass, text. Egg, text, glass, text. And again, that's where those IDs came in, so that we were able to hook onto these and just flip-flop them 1, 2. Okay? So it used to be 2, 1. Now it's 1, 2 because we hard-coded that in there. So that's looking good. Yeah. Looking good. I'm happy with that. All right. So that should be good for mobiles, right? So let's take a look at it. There we go. So our service text, when we make it to tablet view, which is 1024, the only thing that I don't like is there's a little bit too much padding left and right it's on the desktop. So we can give this text more room to spread out and breathe. So let's make another media query that's a little bigger. So we'll go above this one, and this will go to 1024 screens and smaller. So it'll give us like 1024 or 124 pixels in between where it's a little bit different. And I want to select my service text again. So let's grab that, because remember, the service text box controls the padding here. So where is it? Service text. Paste that in. And I don't want text align center. And we'll do padding. I think it's like 9 rem on the desktop, so let's do 6 rem on tablet. Let's give it a little bit more breathing room, and that looks a lot better. And this is very realistic while you're building stuff, guys. If you're ever doing it from scratch, like, you're going to see little things that you can change on different screen sizes as you build. So you're going to be adding more media queries usually as you go for certain things. It's just, how it's going to be. You're not going to know until you know, basically. Until you're building it. You're not going to know. But yeah, that looks good. Let's see. I like it. Let's keep going. Let's view some more. I have an obnoxious amount of devices here because I wanted to, if I'm doing a real project that's like paying me money, I view it on like every single conceivable screen size if I'm coding it to make sure that it looks good, right? If I'm going to charge somebody a decent amount of money, it's going to look good everywhere. So that looks good. S8. S9. Looking beautiful. A little mobile thing is looking good. It's a really nice design, guys. This is a pretty little design. It's really nice. Like, this would be something that if you learn learn your JavaScript, learn some PHP, learn WordPress, and then you learn how to create like WordPress themes from scratch on your own, which isn't that hard. It's not nearly as hard as you think it probably is. This would be like a nice design to turn into like a WordPress theme. And then it would be like a nice little landing page for somebody's agency or product that they can just buy from you. And you could just sell something like this for like $30 a pop, $30, $50. And you'll be surprised. Like, people buy stuff a lot. Even if you're like an unknown developer, you can make like a decent amount of money just making like WordPress themes or selling themes on ThemeForest, if you know what that is. Just another website to buy themes. People would pay money for this design. Like, all you really have to do is code it out once, put it in a zip file for people, have them pay you, and give it to them, right? That's really easy. So it's just something to think about. This is looking really good. I'm just going to look at it on a few more devices. This is an iPad Pro. And iPads have this weird thing where even though it's 1024 and it's not supposed to be showing the mobile view, they do for some reason. I don't know why. It's kind of weird. But if we go to the bigger size, it goes desktop. Like, I even have the media query in here. Like, iPads ignore it for some reason. I don't know why. I have to kind of research that because that's something new. They didn't used to do that. It's pretty new as far as I can tell. See how it looks on a 6, 7, 8 Plus. This was my phone forever. I had an 8 Plus for like 7 years until it finally died. And then I got my iPad, my iPhone 14. About an iPhone 5 throwback. Looks good, man. All right. We're good. We've looked at a lot of devices. This thing looks solid on everything. And this is why we go mobile as we go, because now guess what? We're done with this section altogether. We can completely move on. Got nothing else to worry about. We got a couple more sections to go and we're done. Let's go to desktop. And we got these two background images with some text, and then on mobile they just stack. So pretty simple. Okay, let's just get that done. So, oops, we'll do this first. Right here. So let's go back into our code. And we'll make another section in our HTML. Say section. And then this section I'm going to call, since it says graphic design and then photography, I'm just going to call it design-photography. So I'll say section, class name, design-photography. Okay. And then we'll call these cards. So I'll call it like card 1 and card 2, I guess. Because the whole thing is a background, so we got to give it different class names because they're going to have different background images, but then everything else can be the same. So let's say dot design. I should just copy and paste this, right? So we'll say dot design photography card 1, and I'm getting the card. I call it a card. If you learn the CSS framework Bootstrap, they call each one of these things cards in that framework. So that's why a lot of developers on YouTube, you'll say, is calling stuff cards, because we're kind of just copying Bootstrap. Let's see. And then in here, we're going to have a container for just the text, because remember, this is just going to be the background image, so there doesn't have to be like an image in here. We're just going to have a text container, a heading, and a paragraph. So we'll say dot design photography text container, and then within that we'll have an H2, and the first one says graphic design, so we'll put a class on there of design photography heading class, design photography heading, and then we'll just put our text in here, graphic design, and then below that we'll have a paragraph p tag, and we'll put a class on that. It'll be design photography p. And then I'm going to copy and paste that text in here. All right, it says great design makes you memorable, blah, blah, blah. So there we go. We got our heading and our text. And then that's going to be it for the first one. So now we're going to copy all this down. Call this div design photography card 2. And then everything else is the same. We just got to copy and paste in our text. So this heading text is just photography. And then we'll copy and paste the text underneath photography for that card. Increase your credibility with blah, blah, blah. And there we go. So got our text in here so far. Just got to do our background images and format the text a little bit, and we're set to go. So let's go. Go to our CSS, and we will make another comment. And this is going to be, you guessed it, design photography. Okay. All right, so let's go here and we'll select the whole section, design photography. Oops. Right here. And we're going to use Flexbox again to make them side by side. So let's say display flex, align items center, justify content center. So you're not going to be able to tell much yet. Well, I guess you will. I guess they are displayed flex. So here they are side by side. Now we're going to add in the images and format the text, okay? So next, let's do card 1. Put that background image in there. We'll say dot card 1. And we're going to copy that background image code because I don't want to write it out again. Probably copy all this actually. Just modify it. So we're going to go images, desktop. This would be what? What is the cherries one? Graphic design. So we're in desktop, graphic design right there. And then width 50% is okay. I'm only going to make this 500 pixels tall. And let's see if that appeared. There it is. So we got one background image going. We'll just keep going down in order, and we'll do the text container. Say dot. And we're going to say, it looks like the text aligned is center, so we'll do that. And then we'll give it some padding top because it's like, you know, way down here. Say padding top, 19 rem. Okay, go. And then we'll say design, what do we want? Design photography heading. Grab that. And then we're going to do the color. And it's kind of like that. It's kind of like a greenish color, as you can see from the design picture that I have there. And I'm going to copy that color over from Figma and paste it in. It's like a dark green. And then the font family is the Francis one. So let's see if I can just copy that. It should actually be Francis by default. Yeah, I think I already have that heading in there. Yeah, we do. We just got to do the font weight is 900. Get a little bolder. There we go. And then font size is 28 pixels. And then we'll give it some padding bottom of 2 rem so that the text isn't right on top of it. Okay, and the cool thing is, again, guys, is we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone because these all have the same classes. So we're styling all the text right now. Let's do the design photography paragraph now. So let's grab this class. And then the text is a different shade of green, but it's green, so we'll copy that over. Whoops. Not mean to do that. All right, so font family for this one is going to be the Barlow. We'll just make sure our font weight is 600. Oh, so it's not so thin. There we go. What else? Font size is going to be 16 pixels. Line height is going to be 27 pixels. Width is going to be 45%. And then we're going to say margin is going to be 0 auto. Just make sure it's centered, because if we give it a width without giving margin 0 auto, it's going to go off center. So that keeps it centered. And now let's add our other background image for design photography 2, so that, which is going to be that giant picture of an orange. It's like the second orange picture. They must really like oranges at this agency, because they got 2 pictures of oranges. Got one for here, and it's going to be one right here. So let's copy all this down from the other one and put our It's going to be the photography image. So it's images, desktop, photography. And let's see how that all looks. Boom. There it is. There it is. Very nice. Okay. Let's see how it looks on other screen sizes. Check our work. Oh, well, yeah, we need to make it mobile, obviously. So let's do that first. So let's go to iPhone 12 Pro again. It's a good little middle ground. And let's copy all this and go down one by one and change what we need to change. So we're going to go all the way down to here above the 350. And let's see, design photography. Design photography is still going to be flex, but they're going to be on top of each other. So again, we're going to switch it to flex direction of column. So it's up and down. There we go. So it stacks them. And then we're going to go down to card 1, and we're going to do the mobile for that one. So we'll do images, mobile, graphic design, right? Where is it? Right here. Okay. And then we're going to say width 100%. And height 700 pixels. So as you can see, it's already looking a lot better. For the design photography text container, we're going to delete that. And we're going to make the padding top 29 because it needs to go down lower now. So it's down here. That doesn't seem right. Let's go down to 24. So that seems too low. That's better. And then for the header, it's going to be the same, so we can just leave everything as is. For the paragraph, everything I think is going to be the same, but the width. So we can get rid of all of this. And we're going to make the width 85%. So instead of using padding left and right, guys, we used width. That's just another way of doing the same thing, of putting space on the sides. So we switched it to 85%, so it gives the text more room to breathe, and it looks more like the mobile version now with the text like this. Okay? Then card 2, we're going to do the photography images of mobile. So images, mobile, photography. And then width 100. And then height again of 700. Okay, there we go. And then let's drop our text down a little more. Let's do like 29 rem. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Now our text is looking good. And I think that's about it, yeah, for this section. So let's go through and see if there's anything else we might have to change for bigger screen sizes or anything like that. So let's start at the beginning, the playbook. Looks good. Looks pretty okay. That's a little bad, but I don't know if I'm going to make an exception just for a BlackBerry playbook when I don't even know what the heck that is and how many people are going to use those. Let's see. If it looks bad on other stuff too, we'll change it. If not, I'm not going to worry about that. Because again, we're not getting paid anything to do this. This is just practice. I'm not gonna put a fine-tooth comb over this until I get at least $1,000 or something, right? Charge somebody to build something from scratch like this, guys. This is like an easy like $500, $1,000 job once you're established because you're putting all this time into it. Alt G70. Getting good. Remember, we really only care about the mobile like this. This is what we're caring about, really. But as long as it's like still readable, like the images get a little messed up at this size, but you can still see them. How about iPhone XR? Looks good. Phone 5 looks pretty good. How about iPad Pro? Looks all right. So I guess, what is this? 1024. Okay. So, I guess we could make this a little bigger on 1024. We can make these longer since that's the second error I'm seeing. It's not just on the playbook. So let's do, we already have a 1024 media query. Yeah. Let's take this and go up. Can we give it a height of 800? Will that make a big difference? Let's do 800. Don't want any of that in there. Design card 2. See how that looks. Oh, that doesn't. And then it makes that change, huh? Let's do 750, and then we can change the text padding. Jeez, why does that look like so much more? Did we not have it at 700 before? Am I crazy? No, we did. Okay. So what we can do is just bring the padding down. It's not even that. Padding. There we are, right here. 29 is too much at 1024. Let's go here. 24. What the heck? Oh, okay, I see why. So we can just do 29 there. I see. So if we're going to do 29 there, we can delete it down here. Because it'll inherit. There we go. All right. There we go. BlackBerry Playbook. That's better. Okay, now we got to make sure we didn't screw up our phones at all. Nope, we're good, man. How about Nest Hub Max? How about the Nest Hub? Just looking at random stuff. How about the Pixel 2? Looking good. Got to make sure all of our iPhones are covered. They all look good. iPhone 5. How about the iPhone X? Hold on, this view. It's readable. All right. Do we try all the iPhones? It's good. All right. We're good with this section, guys. We can put this in the done pile. Couple more sections to go. We're almost done. So let's go here. We got testimonials. We got a little photo gallery and a footer. So let's go ahead and do the client testimonials now. So let's do our HTML. And you know what we're going to do. We're going to make another section. Say section. Let's say class. And we'll just call it testimonials. All right. So We've got 3 testimonials. The cool thing is we're going to be able to do everything fairly quickly because we just have a heading, and then we have 3 testimonials that have identical styling. We just have to change the images and text. So this should be pretty easy. So let's start out with this header here. So we'll say H2 with the class of testimonial header. And then we'll say client testimonials, M-O-N-I-A-L-S, if I can spell. And then we're gonna put, see how we have the padding again here? So we're gonna put this in that container class that we made earlier that we haven't used since the beginning. So we'll say .container. And then we need to put we're going to make another div called testimonial flex container so that we can flex them all, because I can't just put flex on this container here. It's going to mess. This is just like a utility class. So we got to make another div now. So we're going to say testimonial flex container. And then each testimonial is going to have a div that's just called testimonial. So we'll say testimonial, and then we'll just go on down. So the first thing is going to be an image. So let's just say img dot testimonial image. So we've got an image with the class of testimonial image, so we can just select it directly. And then for the images source, we'll say images. And then we'll go, they're right here. So the first one is Emily. So put the Emily image in there. We'll put Emily in the alt text. Okay. And then below that, we have a paragraph. So we'll do a P with the class of testimonial P. Okay. And then I'm going to copy and paste the text that goes in here. It says we put our trust in Sunnyside and they delivered, and a bunch of other stuff. And now we got to do the names down here and style the names. So below the P, we'll do a div and we'll call it testimonial name container. And then in there we'll have an H4, or should we do an H3? Let's do an H3 because I think I put H3's styling already. So we'll do an H3. H3, we'll put Emily R for the first one. And then we'll do class of testimonial name. Below the H3, we'll do a paragraph with the class of, so this is like their job. It says like marketing director. So we'll say testimonial occupation. Oops, occupation. That's their occupation, right? And she is a marketing director. Okay. So this is what it looks like so far, no styling. So now we can just copy that down 2 times. So testimonial flex container, so testimonial right here. Copy that down 2 more times. And we'll add in what we need to add in for the next 2. So Emily R. marketing. Okay, so this is our second testimonial, and this is going to be for Thomas S. So let's say images, Thomas, and then we'll say Thomas, and then I'll copy his paragraph stuff. From Figma. Thomas right here. Sunnyside's enthusiasm coupled with their keen interest. Okay, so that's Thomas. We have Thomas, H-O-M-A-S, Thomas S. And he is the Chief Operating Officer. So he is the COO, making all kinds of money. So I'm just going to copy paste that from Figma. And then last but not least, we have Jenny F. So let's go get Jenny's image. Images. Jenny. Jennie. And then get her content. She says that they grew over 400%. So Sunnyside is just killing it, right? That's good news. Making all kinds of money at Sunnyside. And Jenny is a business owner. So she's just a small business owner somewhere. Our sales increase doesn't say where. Okay. So there's all of our raw HTML for each person. Let's just style this up here and make it mobile. So let's go up here and we'll select our testimonials section. And let's go above our media queries. Say .testimonials. And we'll write our comment in here. We can't forget that. Testimonials. Okay. All right, so we're going to give our testimonials a padding on top of 8 rem because there's all this space here between that and the last section. And then we're going to give it a padding bottom of 10 rem because there's a ton of padding on the bottom here too. So we'll set that up. Next, we're going to go for the header. So this thing that we created. So we'll copy paste, say .testimonial header. And gonna give it that little light gray color. So it's actually one that we haven't used yet. It's gonna be hashtag A7AAAD. And we're gonna do text align center. And then it's all capitalized, so we'll do text transform uppercase. Font family is going to be the Francis font, which should already be there. Font weight will be 900 again. Font size will be 20 pixels. And letter spacing is 5 pixels. The letters are spaced out a little bit. Let's see how that looks. So it should look like this. And let's go desktop. Yep, looks good. All right. So our header's set. Let's do our actual testimonials. So we're going to select our testimonial flex container. So we'll say .testimonial flex container. Say display flex. Align items center. Justify content center. All right, so let's look at what we have here. This is what we got so far. So we're getting there, okay? Again, this is nice because we're styling everything at once, right? So now let's grab the testimonial itself. So let's say .testimonial. And we're going to do text align center. Here, let's look at the design as we do this. So all the text is centered. And then we're going to say padding top of 6 rem. Because we want to bring it, there's all this gap between that and the header. So padding top. And then we'll give each testimonial some padding left and right so that the text isn't all spread out like that. And we want to give you see how they're like up against each other? We want to give them their own space. So we'll say padding left 1 rem, padding right 1 rem. And let's look at that. There we go. Okay. Looks better. Let's keep going. Let's grab the testimonial image class that we have on each image. And we'll say width is going to be 72 pixels. Height, 72 pixels. This is from Figma that I'm getting that. The border radius is also going to be 72 pixels. And we're going to give it some margin bottom of 3 rem because we want, see all the space that's here. So see what our images look like. Okay, good. Looking like the design. Let's keep going. Let's move on to the, what do we got? The paragraph. So we'll say testimonial P for paragraph. And we'll give the text a color. And it's another gray color that we never used yet. So I'm going to just copy it over from Figma. The hex code. It's kind of like another off gray. There's a lot of different text colors in this design, which is kind of rare. I mean, they look good together, but it's rare that you have that many different text colors. Let's see. The font family is going to be the Barlow. Font size is going to be 18 pixels. Font weight is going to be 600. The line height between the paragraph is going to be 32 pixels between the letters up and down. And we're going to give it a padding bottom of 5 rem because there's all this padding here, and that's going to be the 5 rem. So let's see how that looks. Looking good. We're almost there. All right. Let's select the next thing, which is going to be our testimonial name container. All right, and it's going to have a height of 20 pixels because I want all of the names to be like right in a row. And when you add a height to stuff, it makes it really even. It makes everything even, okay? What the heck? Why does that J look like that? It's so weird. Does it look like that in here? No, that's weird. Look at that. Is that like glitched or something? Huh. All right, anyway. Testimonial name container. Let's select the testimonial name. And we're going to give it a darker color, and it's going to be the 24303E1. And then we're going to give it a font size of 18 pixels. Font weight of 900. And padding bottom is going to be 1 rem. So let's look at the name. There we go. There's our names. All right. And then we'll do the occupation. What's their job? So it's got a little bit of styling to it. Oops. Okay, testimonial occupation. And we're going to do color. It's this A7 AAD color. Font weight of 600 and a font size of 14 pixels. Okay, so let's look at that. Cool. There's that, and here's the design. What do you think? Pretty close. Look at that, guys. We're looking good. All right, let's make this mobile friendly. So let's copy all this testimonial stuff. And we'll paste it in our 900 area. And we will get started on, so we're just going to basically stack them all on top of each other like most of the other stuff we've been doing. So it's just going to look like this now, all on top of each other, okay? All right, so as far as our testimonials go, we're going to make the padding top go from 8 rem to 4 rem because we don't want such a big gap on mobile screens. So let's look at this while we do it. Let's go inspect. We're in the mobile view. Let's look at a 12 Pro again. Okay, so there we go. We're just fixing some stuff. Padding bottom is still going to be, I think it's still going to be 10 rem, so we'll leave that. Get rid of that. We don't need to have it twice. For the testimonial header, everything is going to be the same, but the font size is going to be a little smaller, so we'll say font size 16 pixels on smaller screens. There it is, okay. Our testimonial flex container, we're just going to switch it to flex direction column, so everything is on top of each other stacked. Okay, there we go. See, it's already looking pretty good. Not much we have to do here. The testimonial itself is looking fine. Let's see. We can just change the padding top to 4 rem, and we'll just say padding bottom 3 rem, so it's not so exaggerated. So they're a little closer together, okay? Testimonial image is going to be pretty much the same styling. For the testimonial paragraph, we're just going to change the padding bottom. So it's going to go from 5 to just 2 rem. We want our stuff a little closer together, okay? And that's pretty much going to be it. The occupation and everything else can remain the same. Yeah. So there it is, guys. Go on different, bigger device. Looks good. Let's make this full screen. Let's give this the, let's go through a couple of these here so we can give it the stamp of approval. Looks good. About iPhone 14. Looking good. Good. I'm happy with that. About on an iPad Air. Okay. Hey, it looks good. Looks good on tablet. How about 678 Plus? So again, guys, if you want, pause the video, take the time, go through every one of these, okay? But I'm pretty positive we're good to go here. Can give this testimonial the stamp of approval. And let's look at it. Did we look at it on the playbook? Oh, it looks good. Beautiful. Pixel 4. Okay. So, yeah, we're good to go here, guys. We're going to move on to the, just look at one more. Oh, it's perfect. Okay. I'm happy. Again, pause it and go through all of them if you want, but we're good. Let's go to the next one. So all we have to do now is this little photo gallery of background images, which will be super fast, and then this footer, which is really simple, and we'll be done. So let's truck on. All right, guys, so let's go ahead now and do this little bottom part, which I'm going to call like a photo gallery. So again, it's just going to be 4 divs with background images all together side by side. And then in mobile, they don't just stack in mobile. Interestingly enough, they actually do this 2, 2. So it's kind of weird, but whatever. We'll do it. So let's go ahead and get the desktop version done first. So let's go down and we're going to make another section here. Say section, and we're going to call that section we'll give it a class of image gallery. And then we're just going to have 4 divs. And the divs are going to have a class of image. We'll say image gallery image, img. And then each one's going to also have an ID because we're going to have to put different background images on there. So we're going to put different IDs on them to do that. So for the first one, we'll just say it's gallery image 1. Okay, and then we'll copy this down 3 times. And then all we need to change is the ID names on them. So this will be gallery image 2, gallery image 3, and gallery image 4. And we're not going to be able to see anything on our screen yet, but the divs are here now. So now what we have to do is style them and put some background images on them. So we'll go into our CSS. And we'll make a comment here, right here. And we'll call this image gallery. And then we'll grab our image gallery image class, or for our section. And we're gonna so for this we're gonna do display grid. Okay, we'll use CSS grid. So we'll say display grid, and then before I go further, let's get the background images in there so you guys can see what's going on. Because you're not gonna see anything yet right now if I just do all that. So let's do the images first. So take gallery image 1. And then let's go copy our background image from somewhere. Copy this one. And what's that supposed to be? The milk bottles. So let's grab that. Say images, desktop, milk bottles. And that's all we're going to do is put the background image in. Oops. And nothing's showing yet because we don't have a height or width on there, but that'll happen when we do grid and we use widths and stuff like that. So let's just copy this down 3 times. So we got gallery image 2, gallery image 3, and gallery image 4. So number 2 is this little orange on a plate, another orange. They love the images of oranges. So let's say images, desktop, gallery orange should be it. And then the third one is a ice cream cone with no ice cream. I don't know what the point of that is. But we'll do images, desktop, gallery cone. And then you've got some stacked sugar cubes here for the last one. So let's go images, desktop, sugar cubes. Okay, so nothing yet because we haven't added anything. So now we're going to go back up here to our image gallery. We're going to say display grid. It's going to put them side by side. So it does the same thing as flex. And now we're going to use something called grid template columns. And then we're going to say repeat. And then we're going to put code in here. We're going to say we want 4 across in each column. So there's 4 by default. So I'm saying put all 4 of these together. And then we're going to say 1 FR. So give them 1 FR. Since there's 4, it's going to be 25% width on each one. Okay? 1 FR, 1 fraction of the 4. So we know that 25 times 4 is 100. So it'll do that calculation automatically when we put this code in here. 4, 1, and have them each take up 1 fraction equal to 100. And then we're going to do width. We want this width to be 100% all the way across. Oops, 100%. And we want the height on these to be 500 pixels. So nothing's showing yet, but when I save with the height on here, we're going to see them. Okay, so there they are. And one of our images isn't showing correctly, so we got to fix it. What are we missing? See, we got them. What did we do? Got milk bottles, gallery orange. Is the cone not showing? The cone isn't showing. And sorry about that, guys. We actually have gallery image 3 in here twice, so maybe you caught that before me. So it needs to be gallery image 4. That's why one of them wasn't showing. And now we have them all. So we got the milk bottles, the orange, the cone, and the cubes. Just like the design. Cool. That's pretty much all we have to do for the desktop design. So then remember now for the mobile, we have to just stack them 2 and 2. And we can very easily do that with grid. So we'll do that. And then we'll put the mobile images in here too. Because, yeah. So let's go down. Let's copy all this. And we'll go down to our media query of 900. And we'll paste these in. And all we have to change, since we used grid to stack them 2 and 2, we just got to change a couple little pieces of code. And I actually want them to stack like that. We're actually going to take these out. We're going to go up to 1024 instead of just the 900 view, because I want them to stack like that even on like smaller tablets. So let's just do it up here, and then all the styles will inherit all the way down, okay? So let's look at what we have here. So it still kind of looks like, I guess that's okay, but not really. But all we need to change, instead of having, so display grid, it's going to be display grid, so we don't need to have that code twice. The width is going to be 100. The height, we'll keep it 500. So all we need to really change is that we want it to be 2. Instead of 4 across, we want it to be 2, so 50, 50, 50, 50 going across per column. So we'll just say 2, 1 FR. And then now they're stacked, okay? And then we could also put the mobile images in here for each one. So do mobile, what is this? The milk bottles is first, right? Yeah. We'll do mobile milk bottles. Do images, mobile, orange. Now we'll do the mobile cone. And mobile sugar cubes. All right, because I think they're sized a little bit differently on mobile. So I think that's about it. Let's see what we look like. Let's right click and inspect and go into our little views here. So this is what it looks like on a tablet, which is the same as desktop. Let's start with our BlackBerry playbook. And there they are. They're stacked on top of each other nice. Okay. Looks alright. Doesn't look perfect, but it looks okay. Galaxy S8, a smaller phone screen. That looks good. Yep. Galaxy S9 Plus. So, as you can see, it looks pretty good. Let's look at some more modern phones here. Good. Let's look at our iPhones. Those are, at least in the United States, it's going to be your biggest market share is iPhones. I think. I don't know. I think, you know what, iPhone and Android might be like 50-50 now. But I'm definitely an iPhone guy. And I recommend that if you're getting into web development, guys, if you get a MacBook, because it's a lot easier to work with the MacBook operating system when you're developing stuff and when you're deploying stuff, because most stuff is, if you become a full stack developer, most stuff is you'll need to deploy it on a server with like Linux or whatever. And then Mac has Unix, which is like basically the same thing. And it's just a lot of stuff right out of the box for web development was actually like Macs were made for developers pretty much ever since their inception. So Mac, just right out of the box, it's really easy to like get languages installed on your system, and Windows updates. You know, I'm not like a Windows hater, but Mac is definitely, it's just a better product, and they last a lot longer too. You'll have a MacBook Pro that thing will last 10 years, like at least, and you cannot say that for a Windows machine. It'll be crashing out and within 3 to 4 years every time. Even if you get like the top of the line, they just mess up a lot. But that's just my 2 cents. Oh, looking good here. Just going through our items. iPad Pro. Let's see, Pixel 2. Again, feel free to go through more and fix anything if you see anything. I've gone through this pretty thoroughly before I recorded this to make sure we look good, but if you see anything, you can leave a comment and let me know, and then go ahead and fix it, though. Don't just tell me, like, hey, you did this wrong. Like, fix it, right? Fix it on your end, so that'll help you learn. Yep, we're looking good. How about an iPhone 5? Does it work on the old 5? Yes, it does. Well, let's go down to 320. Yep. iPhone X. Probably plenty of those still out there. iPad Pro. Do we do Google Pixel? All right, guys, we're looking good. I'm going to put the stamp of approval on the gallery section. Let's go ahead, and we got one more section to go, man. Just got to do the footer, and we're done. So let's knock that out. It's pretty simple. Got a green background, a green logo, a nav bar in the footer, and then some social links. That's it. So let's go to our HTML. And we're going to go out of the main tag because we're out of the main content now. And we're going to create a footer. And we got to get the footer green logo. And I actually had to, I think on Figma, I had to download this separate because I don't think the regular images came with a green footer logo. So I guess you could change the SVG file to green color, but that's kind of a pain in the butt. So I just downloaded the footer logo green from Figma, and just to make my life easy. If you can't do that, there is a way where you can change the logo color to green, I think. But I think even if you download the free version of Figma and get the file over, you can download images without paying for dev mode. But anyway, the footer logo will be in my, it'll be in the GitHub code in the description. So if you need that, go now to the GitHub, go down in the description of this video, click on the completed code area where the GitHub link is, and then you can just download the images, or you can download all my code if you want and get this little footer logo PNG, okay? So we got that out of the way. So let's go down. So we got footer. The first thing that's going to be here is that logo. So we'll just say IMG, and we'll say images, and footer logos here. And we'll put a class on this of footer logo. And then we can just put logo in the alt text, I guess. And then we got this, we have like a little nav bar down here, so we'll just say nav. And then we'll do our unordered list, and with a class called footer nav list. And then we'll do our LIs. Oops. Do our list item LIs. Some anchor tags in there. And then this will be about. And we'll copy that down a couple times. And then we got services next. And then we got projects. Okay, so should have some stuff going on here, and we do. Got the logo, the links, and then below that we need the social links. So for that, we'll just do an unordered list. Just do an unordered list with the class of social links menu. And then we'll do our LI and our A. And then within each link is going to be the image. So we'll say image, images, and we have icons for each one. So first is Facebook. So we'll say Facebook. And we'll say Facebook icon. And we'll copy this down 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And the second one is going to be Instagram. So let's do images, Instagram icon. Put Instagram icon in here. And then, or should we call it, let's call it link. So if somebody's using like a screen reader or whatever, they'll know it's a link. Number 3 is Twitter, which is now X. Get with the times, Frontend Mentor. Twitter's dead, X is alive. Thank God, right? So we'll do Twitter icon, or call it Twitter link. And then we got Pinterest. So we'll say images, Pinterest. And then Pinterest link. Okay. So let's see what those look like. And there they are. Those are our little green icons. So we've got everything we need. Let's just go add some CSS now. So we're going to go below image gallery, above media queries. And we'll put our final comment in. And we'll just say footer. And then we're going to grab our footer tag, and we're going to give the background of the footer, or the background color, is going to be that greenish color. So I'm going to copy that over from Figma, the hex code 90D4C6. There it is. And then the height of the footer, we're going to give it 350 pixels of height. And we're going to say text align center, because everything in the footer is centered on the design. And then we can go down and let's grab our footer logo. Copy that over. And for that, we're just going to add some padding to the top. We'll say padding top 4 rems. Okay, give it some space just like the design. Now let's make our links side by side. So we'll use Flexbox for that. So let's grab our footer nav list. So let's say dot footer nav list, display, flex, align items center, justify content center. What else? Give it some padding top, because it needs to not be right up next to the logo. We'll say padding top 2 rem. Okay, we're getting there. Now let's just grab the anchor tags for the footer nav list, because we didn't put classes on those. So we'll just say footer nav list and the anchor tags inside there. And let's give them some padding side by side. So we'll say padding 0 rem top and bottom, 2 rem left and right. Okay. And then they have a color that I'm going to copy over from Figma. It's another like off green color. It's the hashtag 458D7E. Okay. And then these are font weight needs to be 600 on these. And we got to get that Barlow font. So let's grab that for these links. I'll put that above here, font family Barlow. There we go. And then the font size on them is going to be 18 pixels. And then we're going to, this does have a little transition on it, so that when we hover over these, they're supposed to turn white. So let's add a transition. And we'll say transition all 0.2 seconds, ease in. And we'll grab this and add the hover class to it. And then we'll just change the color of them to white when we hover over them. Whoops. All right, so that should be set for our menu now. Let's see. Whoops. There we go. Now we just got to style our social links and we're good to go. So they definitely need there's a bunch of padding between our social links and they're displayed flex. So we'll do that. Let's grab our social links menu class. And it's going to be display. It's pretty much going to be all of this stuff. So we'll copy this down, display flex, align center, justify center. And then padding top instead of 2 rem is going to be 6 rem because there's a bunch of space here. So let's see how that looks. Here we go. Now we got to give them some room on the sides. So let's do social links menu. And then we'll do all the anchor tags in there. And the padding for these isn't quite as dramatic. So we'll say padding 0 pixels left and right, or top and bottom 10 pixels left and right. And there's our social links, okay? Cool. That looks good. There's our footer. So now we just got to make it mobile. Let's see what it looks like on mobile. I don't remember. Mobile, I think it pretty much just looks the same. So there's probably going to be a little less padding on the sides, but other than that, it'll be the same. So let's see what it looks like on mobile, just to see where we stand. So let's go to our iPhone 12. Looks pretty good, honestly. I don't know if I'd change anything. All right, let's see. Let's give it the whole test. Looks good on the BlackBerry Playbook, which is a bigger screen. All right, so on the smaller screen size is 360. The padding is affecting it. I think that's what's affecting that. So let's make it's the padding and space in between these guys is pushing out too far. So just so it's compatible on all screens, let's see if we can fix that. So that'll be the footer nav list A. So let's grab that and we'll bring it down to the 900 right here. All this will be the same. We'll just say padding left and right 1 rem instead of 2 rem, and that should fix it. And it did. So we're good. Okay. I think that's all we're going to need to do. Let's just carry on and make sure everything else looks decent here. We'll go through a few more devices. Good. How about the Moto G power? Good. Pixel 4. The Pixel 4 and the Pixel 3. Oh, Pixel 3 has a bigger screen. Look at that. That's weird. It's like they come out with these new devices, but like the older one was bigger. Had a better screen. That's funny. And then they charge you like $1,000. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Let's go through iPhones. Yeah, we're good, guys. We're good. We're good. Go through all the iPhones. Okay. Pixel 7. Samsung S8 Plus. All right, S20 Ultra. iPad Pro. About Pixel 2 XL. All right, iPad Air. Look at our beautiful design on the iPad Air. I love this design. It's so pretty. All right, how about iPhone X? 6, 7, 8 Plus. Yep, we're good. All right, guys. Make sure this works still. Yep, there's our mobile menu. Okay, there's our finished product. We're going to call this one done, all right, guys? So thank you so much for watching this. Kind of a long video, but, you know, the design, if you watch this, you know, if you put the effort in to actually watch this and learn from it, you'll learn a ton from this tutorial. I know it's long, but we did a mobile menu in JavaScript, which is a huge skill to have. Broke it down, a complicated design, I would say. There's definitely some things in here that are throw you for it looks simple, but if you're new and you don't really know what you're doing yet, to do this stuff is like it's gonna be hard. But you know, for the most part, it wasn't too bad. It was just, you know, a whole landing page, not a full website, but you know, it had everything. If you can build this, guys, if you can get good at building this design, this is all websites are. They're just multiple pages. If you can build this page, you can build an about page, a services. You can build anything from scratch. So, yeah, did a good job though. If you stuck around the whole time, thank you so much, and I will see you guys in the next video.